she just wasn't there.
One of those that did her own painting and, volunteered and played tennis.
Oh,
And
but-
it just happened.
But see, really, she was, miss everybody everywhere.
I knew she was really involved.
And then she wasn't, she wasn't. They said, psychiatrists say, keep this, keep that, but that didn't.
It didn't help.
Yes, what is this for us, is for us, as they say. I have a sister say, what's for you is for you. She's always saying, what's for you is for you.
What'll be, will be.
Here we go.
Nothing we can do to change something.
Good morning and welcome to the Spalding County Water and Sewerage Facilities Authority regular scheduled meeting. It is Wednesday, April 20, 2022. Please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I'd like to ask Jim Skinner to deliver the invocation and Dick Morrow to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Good morning. Let's pray. Most heavenly and gracious Father, Lord, we give you thanks for this day. Lord, as we consider the business of water and sewer in Spalding County, be with us, be with each of these families. Lord, we ask your special blessings on Gwen and her family, the loss of her mother. Just wrap your arms around them, keep them safe, keep them in your love. For your son's most holy and blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jim and Dick. At this time, I'd like to request a motion to amend the agenda to move item number 12, special committee reports, before the new business.
So moved. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the amended agenda.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Or adopt, I should say.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Citizen comments. Speaker must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and topic they wish to discuss. Speaker must direct their remarks to the authority and not to individual members or to the audience. Personal disagreement with the individual members or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has the right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the authority's business in an efficient and respectful manner. Speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertaining to the jurisdiction of the authority. No questions will be asked by any of the members during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speakers will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the authority votes to suspend this rule.
Mr. Chairman, there was no one who signed up to speak this morning.
All right. Item number 6, minutes. Consider approval of the minutes from the Water Authority meeting, March 16th, 2022, in the regular scheduled meeting.
Mr. Chairman, minutes appear to be in order unless anyone has any additions or corrections. I move they be presented or approved.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 8-0. Thank you. Motion carries. Financial report. For presentation of the FY21 audit information, Administrative Services Director Jenna Garrison.
What you have before you is a set of financial statements that we prepare outside of what is required for us to do for the audit. The Water Authority is considered a component unit of Spalding County. A component unit is an authority, a division of government that is either financially dependent or board appointment dependent upon a larger government. And since Spalding County appoints all of the positions on the board, that's why y'all are considered a component unit. We're really only required to drop one column in our financial statements, but we present these especially for y'all. And there was a question earlier, I think, about whether y'all were included in our audit, and you've always been included in our audit. So, what I have in front of you is a statement of net position, and you ended the year with total net position of $30 million, and this is an increase over the previous year of $2,176,000. So you're doing very well. This is kind of like a balance sheet, but for government, we call it something different. Are there any questions on the statement of net position?
Wow.
No, ma'am.
All right. This is just for information to us, no motion needed.
The next thing I have for you is a statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund net position. And as you can see down at the bottom, you had a beginning net position of 28 million, an ending of 30,703,312, and that is your increase of 2,176,000. And this is basically an income statement. I would say that the majority of this increase partially is a little bit, you had a little bit of increase in your revenues, but there was a decrease in expenses. But if you'll look under, it's the third category, non-operating expenses in income, you'll see transfers, and it's a positive number of $665,000. That is the reimbursement from the CDBG fund for the work on Dundee Phase 1. So that is a good part of the $2.1 million increase in your net position.
Okay.
So the next statement is a cash flow. It just shows that the Water Authority had positive cash flows of $2.4 million this year, which is good. The next statement is your capital assets. And I would point out there's one thing that is not as I reported it to the auditors, but I'm thinking that they put it this way because there hasn't been a category. But you'll see on your increases at the front, at the top of the statement under land, is showing $877,000. That is not land, that is construction in progress, and that is the Dundee Phase 1. And so I'm gonna make them correct that next year and put a construction in progress line item. And then the final statements are on your long-term debt, and that is your Series 2015 bonds. And then the last section I put in here just for y'all to look at. It is not audited information, it's called continuing disclosure, and it's what I need to provide to satisfy the bond covenants. It's just information on your water customers, your water volumes, largest customers, things of that nature. It's just interesting information.
Okay, so good. In case you did not hear, we had the audit of Spalding County, and the first time that I know of, we had absolutely nothing wrong. No, what are the words? No findings at all.
No findings.
First time we've ever had that I know of. Absolutely great job, Jenna, which includes us, so everybody understands that. So, well done, Jenna. All right.
Chairman, I have to say, I've worked with this lady 20 years one way or another. She's incredible, and I heartily commend once again an awesome job. I move that we approve and accept the financials as presented by her.
Okay. Really, we don't have to do anything with this. This is,
Okay.
It's just a presentation.
All
thank
right.
you, Jenna. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. General Manager? Consider approval of the financial report as presented by the General Manager Johnson.
So what you're looking at before you is the updated financials. But one thing we need to note is the revenues we didn't get from the city until last Sunday, so when the agenda was published, we weren't able to update it. So next month, you will get updated financials. But the customer class on the left side, that is true as of March 31st. So we're looking at 15,169 customers. And that's the breakdown, residential through industrial. Looking at the updated numbers that aren't reflected on this, year over year, we're around 107% of our actual volume sold versus budgeted. So from a position, we're doing pretty well. But like I said, the gross revenue and the net revenue are still, they're the same number that you saw last month.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I need to approve the semi-updated financial report.
Yes. All right, I have a motion to approve the semi. I have a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0, thank you, motion carries. Thank you. This is, you see, we're transitioning into the general manager taking this over from Jenna and working this for us, which is a good thing overall. Thank you. All right, item number 8, water superintendent report. Consider approval of the water superintendent report as presented by the general manager Johnson.
Are you doing that for our committee meeting?
Yes, we said put it in front of new business, didn't we?
Okay, I'm going off then.
Okay, yes,
That's what I planned.
I'm cranking through this, all right.
So fire hydrants touched to date are 264. And what we are doing is everybody, the board's wanting a dashboard. So I'm working with the staff and we're gonna generate a plan to bring to y'all and have you approve it, is basically how often or how often do we want to touch every hydrant and maintain it? So we're starting to build the case, but so far we're at 264. And then the meters installed, we've totaled 69. And just to put this in perspection on last year, we're around 20% of what we did last year. So if you use last year's numbers, we should be around 93 meters total. So we're trying to figure out exactly where that disconnect is so far. So we're in the process of building those matrices as well. But I don't believe there's any reason to worry about where we're at right now with the meter installs. The summary of water loss is the next sheet, and this is just providing you an overview of the water that is put on the ground through maintenance activities, through leaks, through main breaks, through hydrant flushing, through auto flushers, and through tank cleanings. So far, we're at 9 million gallons that we put on the ground.
Mr. Chairman, I will say this is also a great advantage to the city because they have to account for all water, and this mysterious disappearing water has now been documented by our side of the line, and
Well,
so it helps.
This is information provided by the city of Griffin that I'm presenting just on the county standpoint. We have found where there is an issue with our reporting to them, and we're in the process of fixing that. So when we when we maintain hydrants, we actually put water on the ground. Well, they've never been told that volume. So we're building the tracking sheet that they're gonna start getting on a monthly basis, where they're not chasing this ghost water.
That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water, 6 million gallons.
And what's interesting is just in the month of March, just from us, we flushed 92,000 gallons of water.
Okay.
I think we're all excited that we're taking this business to a much higher level, and that's the kind of thing that can make a huge difference over time.
If we know what the issues are, we can find the solutions. And Joseph is finding those issues. Okay? Is that?
Mr. Chairman, Joseph, could you, on this report, can you break it down, since we're meeting monthly now, can you show a monthly amount along with this yearly total?
Yes, if you, you see the last table, the source of non-revenue water down at the bottom?
Yeah.
Is there something that you want to see different than that?
There's your monthly breakdown right there.
Or do you want to see monthly per category?
I think monthly per category.
I can, yes, sir.
Would be beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mr. Skinner, we will take a look at that and make it graphical as well, so it'll be
It-
a
it
little
doesn't have to be
easier
graphical. It just
to read.
would be nice to
All
break
right,
down those categories
all right.
on a monthly basis.
All right, any other comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve the financial report? All right, I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those, excuse me, I had said the financial report, I'm really saying the water superintendent report.
Superintendent.
Okay, water superintendent amended his motion. You amend your second. Jeff, thank you. All those, any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0, motion carries. Thank you. Old business. Update the transfer sewer flows and customers to the City of Griffin General Manager Johnson.
So as y'all know, at the end of February, we put a letter to the customers of Highland Mills and Dundee Mills after working with the city and to start transitioning them and letting them know who their new service provider is going to be. The City of Griffin sent those letters out, and as bills were getting read going forward, they were being switched over to the City of Griffin. So as of right now, all the customers have been removed from our books and are now on the City of Griffin's. And we're still working through the Dundee Mills lift station through the IGA agreement. So that's the only asset that hadn't been transferred over to them.
Missing parts.
Correct. The valves are supposed to be here next week.
Okay. Excuse me, let me get back. All right. Now we're into the movement of the special committee reports. Let's turn this over and start with Mr. Morrow.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we had a very interesting meeting of the planning committee. You can read the minutes were attached if you want to know all the details, but quickly, Vice Chair, Mr. Delaney was there, Wade and Gwen, so we had a full component, and naturally we had Charlie and Joseph and Stephanie with us. So we had a wide-ranging discussion of the sewer issue and trying to define projects specifically connected to the financials of any project and what we could do and not do is an extremely complicated endeavor. We've talked about this for a couple of years now, and I think we're more befuddled than ever. There's too many. So we talked about an RFQ, but I think Joseph had the crowning idea. He said what we need is an we talked about RFP. What we need is an RFQ, request for qualifications, and throw the whole topic wide open to some consultants who can look at everything and give us ideas of different projects, income and expense, financial feasibility, doability, all that, and try to make some definitive judgments. And we discussed that, and you'll see later that's in the new business. And rather than limit to any one area, it's basically open county-wide and just look at everything and give us a pass. So I think it's a great idea to tackle this thing and get us some projects that are specific and recommended, if there are any. Okay. And you'll have opportunity to vote that. In that discussion, the comp plan came up because the county's new comp plan is moving along with no sewer definition in there, and what we decide to do with sewer could greatly affect the comp plan. So we need to move quickly and try to get this rolling, and then whatever comes out of it have to be in the comp plan, because it could be a big game changer potentially. Maybe, maybe not. So that was part of the discussion. Another
just one
area we
second.
talked about, chewed over pretty good, was seeding and potential area to the city. The Development Authority is working with a developer who bought a chunk of land just out east of the industrial parks. He wants to build a warehouse complex and wants sewer. Well, that's in our service area, but he is willing, as I understand, to pay potentially for the sewer hookup to take it back to the city and the Potato Creek plant. So he wants sewer. This warehouse project probably create lots of jobs and a nice tax return for the county. But do we want to give up our service delivery area for this project? And we had a wide range of opinions, like, heck no, it's our area, to the greater good for the county is to help with the project. But there are a lot of implications to giving up a service delivery for future. What do you do in your future if you want it back? You build a new plant. So at the end of our discussion, we go, this is too big a question or recommendation. We're gonna work on this more. So we made no decision, okay?
Dick, well, you were talking about the comp plan. Last night, we met with another steering committee, and Joseph is on that steering committee. He's being individually interviewed to talk about stuff like that. So the comp plan, although we don't know what we're doing maybe on the water authority, he's covering those bases with the comp plan on what we think is moving along that way. And it is happening this time, which is a huge step forward. We weren't thinking about that in 2017 at all. This time, we're up with it. So thank you, Joseph, for doing that and being part of that team. It takes extra time, and we appreciate it.
So with the RFQ, we had a unanimous vote 4-0 to present it to this board today for approval. The seeding this area is a topic of future discussion and more research before we make a recommendation. And the third thing, real quick, question came up about these industrial customers that are city customers because they said they were gonna use over 100,000 gallons a day, and we think some of them are not. And we're gonna ask for an audit to see if the industrial customers are meeting that threshold. And I had mentioned this to Dr. Keller. I was in his office talking about a cemetery issue, so he wouldn't be blindsided. And he made the comment that he's already, internally, they've talked about this and they were doing an internal audit. So they're ahead of us on that, but that's something we need per the contract to answer and both sides understand it. So we also have a recommendation coming up to ask for a water audit for industrial customers and satisfy both sides that we're being compliant with the contract. And that's the big things in case there's anything else.
Okay. Ms. Cheryl?
The Finance Committee did not meet this month. There was not anything for us to have to get together on as yet, differing from the last time. But we would like to officially make the money market account a cash reserve fund. We'd like to designate it as a cash reserve fund. Do you want a motion now or do you want it later?
It's under new business, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, anything else from special committees? All right,
And just to cover the ad hoc committee, that's coming up. It hasn't met yet, so we'll thrash that out on the 26th or whatever the date is.
Yeah.
okay. New business. This should flow along with what we've just heard, so if there's something you didn't
Chairman,
ready to vote, should be
Based on
already.
our 4-0 vote at the committee, we moved that this board authorize a sewer feasibility study and directed by General Manager Johnson and RFQ as discussed.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
I have a question.
Any discussion? Yes.
We are doing it for sewer, but some of these areas don't even have water. Are you gonna include water in that?
No, because if there's no water in that area, I'm sure the consultant
Okay, as long as.
would consider that, and so sewer without water is,
Okay,
but we're just gonna ask him to look at everything.
okay.
Well, based on the 4 areas, so we're gonna go Highway 16 west, east, and then 1941 north and south. And there's water, the only one that's not is, it would be the Highway 16 east. But they would have to extend the water system that way.
And I will mention that the Pine Tree Circle, this is Lenny's area, is not in this, but we, on the committee, believe that needs to be done. That's just a matter of
Yes,
making that happen.
that's another one of those we've been
We have to
working
have
on
the
for
study
years.
and do all that, which I hope we get started on soon.
And if I could provide an update on where we stand with that.
Well, let's go ahead and, we vote on the RFQ, so that we have it in the record. We have a motion, a second, finish with discussion. All those in favor of the RFQ, raise your hand. 8-0, thank you, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, who do we submit this RFQ to? I mean, is it just a general
So the
shotgun
RFQ is gonna,
approach, or?
no, what it'll be is we'll put it on, we'll advertise it. But we will reach out to various consultants that have done similar projects like this, where they can put together a proposal. So it will be advertised on our website and through other registries where various consultants all over the country could look at it.
What's the
And is this the feasibility, or is this going to actually be cost estimates?
So what the RFQ process is gonna be, where the consultants are gonna put together a package for the selection committee to vet on merit. Then we will select a consultant. We can either shortlist a couple and we can interview some, or we can, if the scoring ranks one way higher than the rest, we can go into, we're planning on using that consultant to help us really nail down the scope. Because the difference between a request for qualification and request for proposal is we don't know the scope. We don't want to box someone in. We want to use their innovative ideas and forward thinking.
We're asking for resumes.
Right.
That's basically what we're doing.
And ideas, how to tackle this thing.
Do we have an idea of what this might cost?
I mean, it's definitely going to be cheaper than a master sewer plan, which those could be $250,000 to $500,000. So I'm kind of thinking this could be anywhere between 50 to 150, depending on how specific we want to get. But when we work with the consultant and generate that scope, we can have these discussions before we negotiate a fee. So we can tell them, this is what we're hoping to do, and then they can present like a case saying, well, if you want to have these go, no-go points where you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, and then at the end of the day, you're like, well, this is just way too expensive. We can have like a phase 1 where we assess them and we figure out, okay, well, is this area more attractive than the others? Then we can say, well, if we determine that, we can go into that area, would do a little more specific analysis. But the qualification part is the only fee that we're gonna have is submitting the bill to the paper to run it.
May I make one comment? By the way, I noticed on page 9 in the numbers of copies,
Yes,
there's a typos there.
Correct.
You saw that?
correct.
Okay. All right. Discuss the audit,
We actually didn't vote on it, I don't think.
or have we voted?
Did we vote?
We have. Mr. Morrow made the motion, Cheryl made the second, and the vote was 8-0.
I'm sorry. I
Okay,
thought she
no,
asked
no,
questions before we
that's
voted.
okay. All right. Item number 2, under new business, discuss audit of all industrial customers in the Water Authority service area.
Mr. Chairman, again, we voted 4-0 to do this, and our motion is that we do request an audit from the city industrial customers.
Okay?
So you have a motion to do it, second.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this? I don't want to move so.
Are we requesting an audit, or are we doing an audit?
Well, they have the numbers.
Is that what we discussed in our meeting?
Joseph?
I need clarification on, does the board want do we want to rely on data provided by the city of Griffin, or do we want an outside?
No, let's don't pay for an outside.
Okay. Well,
They have the numbers, I mean,
Well,
I think we're a little paranoid if we have to have an outside one.
So after talking with Brand, I meet with Brant and Brandon every week, every Thursday, and from our last conversation, there were 4 that were, correct me if I'm wrong, Brant, was it 4 customers?
We're just checking to make sure they're being billed correctly.
Gotcha. So they're checking to make sure they're being billed correctly, but I will clarify, so when a customer comes in and they designate themselves as industrial, what the city is basing their rate on is information provided by their consultant. So if their consultant says that they're gonna be using 150,000 gallons a day, the city of Griffin is going to set them up as an industrial customer because that's what they say they're gonna use. So a lot of this is industries aren't using what their consultant said they were using.
Now, let me give you an example. Mr. Lucky has given us proposals on numerous, they call them projects, different type of projects. And we get as confused as anybody because there is no rhyme or reason to what the IDA gives us as a good number. And I went back to validate that number. We obligated them, they paid for a half MGD in the plant. They presented to us 2.6 MGD in the plant. You know how much sewer's actually going to the plant? 1.63. So it's a crapshoot until we figure out what's going on because we don't get a lot of information from the Industrial Development Authority. So that's how that works.
Okay? And I think we got the pun. All right. All right, any more discussion on this? Did you get your answer?
I think so.
Okay. Now, this does not, my note here says that this does not require a motion to do something with, because he is just discussing what he's really gonna get from the city. But we know we're moving in that direction to get the audit and come back through and find out if we've got issues. All right? Item number 3.
Okay,
I thought there was a motion.
Yeah, I thought there
on
was
the
a motion
table,
on the table,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
But
to go forward with the audit.
that's my motion, and
All right?
so
Ms. Beanie, get a second.
Okay, a motion is, all right, any more discussion? Sorry. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0, motion carries. Thank you. Consider designating the current money market account as a reserve fund as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Yes,
your motion, I second her motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
this comes from our March meeting.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0, thank you, motion carries. Consider acceptance of the Water Authority Planning Committee meeting minutes from the March 30, 2022 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, Charlie did her normal excellent job, and I move we approve her minutes.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0, motion carries.
And if you want to read them, there's a number of things mentioned there. If you want to weigh in on the planning committee, we'd be happy to hear your opinions.
Who? Planning Committee is going very well, Mr. Morrow. Thank you for what you're doing, leading that group.
We have a good group.
Item number 9, update from the General Manager, Joseph Johnson. Update on Jackson Road, Kennedy Road, water main repair.
So as you all know, there was a leak in the casing under Jackson Road, and Crawford won. We solicited 3 contractors. Crawford came back as the low bid. They were issued a PO, and they should be mobilizing hopefully this week. They were waiting on materials. But we are actively coordinating with the city of Griffin to get that expedited. So that should be wrapped up, I would say, this month sometime.
Okay. Update on the City of Griffin and the Water Authority's biannual meeting date.
We've been working with the city of Griffin and trying to nail down some dates. We put out some initial feelers to get an idea, and we're just trying to hone those in. So y'all be expecting a doodle poll to be sent back out.
Okay. I'd like at the next meeting for sure that you start to give us an idea of what you think the agenda items should be. This is not an opportunity to spring something on somebody that we're not prepared for. Okay? I believe that both sides should know about this, the issues, and we should move right through this. This is an easy family and friends type meeting.
Okay.
All right? Archway Partnership Zoom meeting with Brittany.
So we reached out to Archway just to get an idea of, and start building these bridges with them and connections. So we wanted to know a little bit more about Archway, and we discussed possibly leveraging some of their resources. And Brittany was very nice and said that if we ever had a project that we could team up with a college and get some interns one summer. And I was like, well, we have a project right now that we could use some help with, and it is basically categorizing, putting age, assigning age to our infrastructure. So I went through and explained, we have a litany of plans, we have GIS. So she's taken that information back to some professors, and we'll regroup with her to figure out exactly how we can best tackle that project.
So everybody knows, three of us are on Archway Partnership. So, and the co-chair is also our attorney. Okay? Stakeholder interview with comp plan update and impact fee for sewer.
So we held that 2 weeks ago with Ansley, with Blue Cypress, and the interview went well. We did mention that some of the board's reservations is not having our plan incorporated into the comp plan. And I remember there was specific questions asked on, could we leverage sewer fees in impact fees? So we have clarification from Bill Ross, which is the impact fee specialist, and basically a capital cost recovery fee. Think of what the city charges for you to tie onto the system. That is essentially the water and wastewater impact fee. So that is a wastewater impact fee. So if we leverage a capital cost recovery fee that comes out of that feasibility report, that will, in essence, be our impact fee. It's just not called impact fee.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? I want to make sure that this is, okay.
Can I add a point that, if you don't mind, so we've been in the Supreme Court on our capital cost recovery. To do a capital cost recovery fee correctly, you need a rate consultant come in and look at your assets and evaluation, and then they'll present you 2 or 3 options that legally work. You just don't pull a number out of the air. And so I'm just helping you out a little bit, that if you do decide to go down that CCRF route, make sure you do your due diligence. If not, you'll be in court and you'll have to defend it. And it was pretty expensive for us to defend us, especially since it was Spalding County that we were defending the case against. So the bottom line is make sure you find somebody to validate either historically and also validate in the future how you can modify that capital cost recovery fee as you expand your system and you have money and assets that you want to recover your cost in. I didn't mean to take show, but I wanted to give you
Oh,
that.
thank you. Always interested in your comments. Okay. All right. While you're up there, General Manager, if you got something else you'd like to enlighten the board with?
I think that about does it for right now.
Okay. Let's, I'm turning over to number 13, which is the Secretary Treasurer comments.
So the one thing that I would ask our Spalding County Water and Sewerage Authority to be a part of is our comp plan. So over the course of the last few months, we have worked diligently on our comprehensive plan, looking forward for our future land use map. This evening and tomorrow evening, we will hold additional public hearings at our fire stations. Please come be a part of those. Put your 2 cents worth in. Share with us what you see into the future of 2042 for how we're going to progress our water and sewer for our county. Those will be at our fire stations. If you're not familiar with where they're going to be, please visit our website. I'm going to encourage you to do that and click on the link for Spalding 2042. It will take you to the website where you can look at the locations we're going to hit. The next two, I believe, are Gary Reed and the Brooks fire stations, which is fire station number 7. So please come be a part of that. We very much would appreciate your input. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment about that. You don't have to get caught up just in the water authority business. This is where our county is going. This is where we're gonna put industrial, where we're gonna put residential, all of that stuff. You can walk in there and not talk water at all, not talk sewer at all. You understand, most of you understand our county pretty well. This is the opportunity to get the comp plan to go the way we want to. Land use map will be brought up and ended up because of these. So please don't hesitate to come in and say, hey, I think we need to do this, that, or the other. We're still in the developmental stage of trying to get this done. Okay? Let's start, we'll start with Ms. Fanny. If you've got, we're at the authority member comments. Any comment from you, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Ms. Cheryl?
Yes, I will look to Joseph to give me recommendations as to when the Finance Committee needs to meet again.
Okay. All right.
In our sewer discussions and the impacts in this county, one of my frustrations has been the lack of development authority participation. Mr. Lucky necessarily has to work pretty much in secret lots of times with these people, but I've reached out to him and I said, you need to come to our planning committee meetings because you're the wild card out here. We need to know what's going through your brain and what might be happening, because if we get in the sewer business, you're front and center. So I talked also with Chuck Copeland, the chair of the IDA, and they're willing to participate and tell us what's going on, because we got these silos we're trying to break down. So when it comes to the RFQ, we'll need to meet our committee to pick consultants. I personally think we ought to have a city representative and an IDA representative on that, because they'll be working with those groups as part of this study. So I think we need to make this as broad-ranging and inclusive as necessary and not have our own little sewer silo.
Now, if everybody remembers, we brought everybody in here to do this a year ago or so. Chuck was here, the school was here, we brought them in, filled up the room to be able to do that. I see us getting to that point again, so everybody knows, where everybody comes in and says to us, hey, this is what we think. We'll get the Secretary Treasurer to start ginning up that for later in the year, so that we get everybody at one time to talk to us, and don't try to talk to one and talk to the other. Try to get some synergy in there. So great thought, Dick. Thank you. Okay. Anything else from you, sir?
Well, they'll say things at a committee meeting they wouldn't say in a big public forum, so we need to pick their brains about what they got going on.
And we gotta get them publicly to say certain things to us, and take a stand.
Yeah,
But yes.
at some point.
Yeah, but,
But also, I want to mention that this is Brant's last month officially as the director over there. He's retiring, but he's coming back, unfortunately, half-time to work on special projects, so we'll see him stronger, but
One of my contractual obligations is to work with y'all for the city on electric.
oh, good. We appreciate that. We're glad you're retiring, but we're also very glad you're still around. Thank you.
My wife's glad I'm coming back to work full-time.
Well, we understand that. All right.
I can't imagine how much glad she is.
Okay. Anything else from you, Mr. Morrow? Anything else from you?
No, I'm sorry,
Okay,
no.
yes. Jeff?
No comment.
Okay. Jim?
Just congratulations to Bryant. Congratulations to Brant, excuse me, to Brian as well. Exciting news for you, but we still expect to see your face. I don't care who you work for.
I'll be here 5 years.
Okay. Yes.
That's my agreement.
What's he doing?
He sold it.
They sold it.
Did he?
You can talk to him offline to get that, the exact information on how that works, yes. Okay. Vice Chairman, you have some comments?
Would it be appropriate for us to add a general manager comment section to this, into this list?
Okay. Yes.
In the future? And
when
how
we-
many times has Brant retired now? Okay, I thought I was on track there.
Charlie, when we get to the new Novus or whatever we're calling, add that in there so that he has an opportunity to talk. Right, anything else from you?
No, I just kinda thought maybe we ought to give him a chance to kick us stuff coming in the future, you know?
Okay. One last thing, comment from me. I'm gonna try to create another one of these committees. I wanna look at the amendment to the amendments for our rules and regulations. The General Assembly has finished. It's gonna take us a while to get that together. Then we can get it to the local legislators to be able to say, we wanna change this rule or that rule. So I'm looking for some people later on, not today, to say, this is how this is gonna work. Yes, we all look to one person, but,
I was gonna say, Mr. Chairman, instead of creating a new committee, isn't that something that could go to the bylaws committee?
okay.
Thank me later, Sheriff.
Yes. I think we'll put that, so, next time we will,
So
put
shall
that-
it be done.
You'll have to give me a new bylaws committee
Bang the
member,
gavel,
because I lost one.
Okay, we got that done. Thank you, Cheryl. We appreciate you volunteering for that.
You'd have to give me one more new member, I lost one, remember?
Okay, okay. So somebody, we're gonna need a couple of you to go on to that committee, along to be able to do
Okay,
that.
Fanny wants to go on there.
Yes, and that's important. This is truly what we're allowed to do, and we've got to get this up. We've got 2 or 3 things that I think we want to look at, and we're lucky enough to have Cheryl, who's very, very good at this, to be able to say here. So I expect in the next couple of months we'll have that. We'll get it to the local legislatures, and then get that started at the next time we have the General Assembly comes forward. Okay?
Don't forget one.
Oh, turning around, I'm sorry, Ms. Wanda.
The only question I had was the sewer looking, that we were looking from, going 16 to Coweta, was that always one of the areas? I thought there was just 3 that we were looking at.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And this came up because, first off, Shoal Creek is that area out there, and the city has had consideration of expanding it, which would change the west side. But there's a lot of housing coming in from next door, over this way, and they're starting to come into Spalding County. So we thought, just add that to the sewer picture for consideration. It's not one of the top areas, but it is a potential area. And Mo Joseph might want to add his take on that.
So one good thing about the sewer feasibility study, it will present a plan. So in the event a developer ever comes out or there's major growth that is slated, we'll have a plan in place. And then someone comes in and says, okay, well, this is our development. Well, this was how we were gonna sewer this area. Now we can start getting buy-in from using not necessarily a private-public partnership, but we can start using private funds to help fund some projects.
Okay, I have a couple more comments that are at the kind of the think stage. We need a couple things for us to start thinking about. Stormwater, big issue. It's rampant through, we have some issues throughout the county and everything else, so we're gonna need to do that. We'll bring that back up to you, but start wrapping your head around stormwater, where it's going and all of that stuff. And secondly, I'd ask the general manager to start looking at personnel issues. We have a number of personnel issues that are slipping under him that we have to do something about, and may require us to do some issues with people, funding, and all of that stuff.
We got some serious retirement and problems coming.
Yes, yes. better set, thank you. All right. With that said, do I? All right, does anybody remember who's on the ad hoc committee? Okay,
There you go. That's the answer to my question.
all right. Thank you.
That was it.
That was pretty easy. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0. Thank you all for the speedy time this time. It was important to me to get through
I
this.
do receive